And for our last method for doubly linked lists, we're going to do remove. So for this, we're just going to remove a node at a particular index and return it. So that's a pretty simple concept. If you want to code this, go ahead and pause it. Otherwise, let's get into it. So just like with a regular linked list, we saw that if we remove the first item, we could say if the index is 0, we'll just return this .shift. If we're going to return the last item, we could just say return this .pop. And then, of course, we can't have anything that is not a valid index. So anything that's less than 0 and anything that is greater than or equal to this .length. Like that, we return undefined. So let's look at all of these so far. And if it's not one of these, and say we're going to return the one at the index of 2, we would set a variable equal to that node. And what we saw before is we had a before variable before the item we were actually going to remove. And that was because all of our arrows were pointing forwards. But because we have arrows going the other way, we don't need that variable. And I want to show you something a little bit different here with what we can do with these variables. First, we need to declare the variable like this, and we're going to get that variable to the appropriate node using the get method. Let's look at this with the rest of our code like that. Okay, now we'll bring back our list like that. And since this is the one we're going to remove, I'm just going to push it up here like this. So what we need to do is we need to have the arrow that goes from the 3 to the 23, highlighted in green there, and point that to the 7 node. Then we need the one that's going from the 7 to the 23 that I have highlighted there, and have that point over here. In order to do that, watch what we're going to do. We'll say temp.previous.next is equal to temp.next. Like that. And that will point that to that node. Similarly, we can say temp.next.previous is equal to temp.previous. Like that. And that will move that arrow down. The only thing we need to do now is to say temp.next and temp.previous are both equal to null. And that will break that off the list like that. So let's put this in with the rest of our code like that. The only things left to do are to decrement the length and return that item that we removed. So we'll look at this code in a second in DevTools. This is the linked list that we'll create with a length of 3, and we will remove the item at the index of 1, which also has the value of 1. So it will return the node with the value of 1, like that. Then we'll be left with a list where head points to 0, tail points to 2, and has a length of 2. So let's flip over to DevTools. So there is our remove method. And I'm going to scroll up a little bit. And this is where we create our list with 0, 1, 2. I'm going to zoom out here and run this. And I'm going to open this. And you can see that head points to 0, tail points to 2, and the length is 3. So I'm going to clear this and run the remove method. Okay, so it returned the node with the value of 1. Now let's look at the linked list. And I'll open this up. And head points to 0, tail points to 2, and it has a length of 2. And that's our method for remove.